All right, guys. First big visit weekend of the 2025 class. We have some junior days, but nothing as big as this. This is also probably the biggest weekend of the spring, really, as it was last year as well. We'll start off with Caleb Cunningham, five-star wide receiver. He actually did come in January. It was more of a stop-in. He was driving back from his visit at UF, and Tallahassee was on the way, so he stopped in for a quick conversation with Coach Norvell. Wasn't longer than 15, 30 minutes when he was here in January. But he had that in mind with plans to come back this weekend. He is very excited. This is someone Florida State is kind of gaining steam on. Obviously, five-star wide receiver. Everyone in the country wants him. Really good kid from talking to him. I'm excited to see what kind of Florida State does and what they push here. It'll kind of be interesting because obviously there's still a lot of contenders here for Caleb Cunningham. A.K. Deer, Ackland Deer, I believe is his real name. Not 100% sure on that, but A.K. Deer from Mississippi. He got a visit from some coaches a few months back at his school, and he really liked it. FSU really stands out to him. He hasn't really visited FSU a whole lot. It's the first time in a while. The last time I remember might have been Legacy Weekend last year or sometime last spring. Again, we were consumed by the 2024 class at that time that he could have visited, and I just am not remembering. But that is a big one. He does like Florida State. I think he's not the top running back on their board. I think Alvin Henderson and Usman Kroma are up there, but still a really good running back that will be in Tallahassee this weekend, along with yet another running back, Byron Lewis from American Heritage High School. Pat Surtain used to be the head coach there. This is someone who's a great kid. Great kid. He DMs the Warchant account pretty frequently, as Michael said on the live stream the other night, just giving us updates of right when a coach visits him at school, he would send us a picture right away and be super excited. I think he told us 2 or 3 times he's coming this weekend. He's clearly very excited. Great kid. Everything I hear about him is great. When I talk to him, it's great. And he's really good. Really good. And obviously he's not going to be telling us all these good things about FSU and telling us when a coach shows up and be so excited about it if FSU's not on a good track there. So that should speak for itself, in my opinion. Then you got Jamie French. Jamie French is someone I put in a pick for last time he visited. I think Ohio State has gained some steam here, but I still think it's razor-thin margin there between Florida State and Ohio State. At this point, I could see it going either way, but the more you get him on campus, the better it's going to be. His teammate Tramel Jones was actually at practice Thursday as well as quarterback. Tramel said he was also going to be here this weekend because who doesn't like spending spring break in Tallahassee, right? And then after that, we have Vernell Brown, who was 7-on-7 teammates with Jamie French and Tramel Jones. He, again, another very good wide receiver who also visited in January and is quickly coming back. Tells you a lot when a kid is visiting so quickly in between, right? That means they like it and they want to keep coming back. We got a long list here. I'm not going to go over every single one. I'm kind of going to go through the highlights a little bit. Max Buchanan will actually arrive on campus Friday and stay both Friday and Saturday. Another big offensive lineman. Florida State is definitely big on the offensive line class for 2025. A lot of targets, and there's a lot of talent there. We've known this for a while now, even going from last summer, that they are really, really big on this offensive line talent coming out in 2025. That includes Dontrell Glover, who I think Michael and I both have on commit watch. FSU is his top school when he went on threes, Duke's the scoop, 5-star flex. And I think they've continued that. I saw him at a camp wearing FSU stuff. I think FSU has a pretty big lead here, in my opinion. So he could end up pulling the trigger, not making any promises, but I feel like if there's anyone to watch committing this weekend, he is number one. Juan Gadsden visited a few months ago, I believe. Haven't heard a whole lot about him, but another really good offensive lineman, 4-star interior guy. One who I'm very excited to see come this weekend is Zaire Addison, 4-star. This is someone who has visited FSU a lot. I believe he visited for 2 games, and also he visited twice last summer, literally in back-to-back weeks. Great kid. I love talking to him every single time. FSU's always been high for him. He's very close with Alex Adkins. I think FSU was trending here for a while, and then he kind of was talking to a bunch of other schools. But every time you talk to him, you can kind of sense a different feeling with FSU. I bring it back to I had a phone call with him in the season before he visited for a game, kind of previewing the visit with him, and I asked him what other visits stood out when he had taken it for games and stuff. I think Tennessee was one. I'm not exactly sure what the others were, but I said, has anything else stood out to you? Like, has anything really stood out like Florida State has? And he goes, no, sir. right away. So that kind of always point to that. And I think he hasn't visited FSU since the season, but I think he'll get that feeling right again when he comes back. Dallas Golden, 4-star safety, is another one to watch. He will be on campus. This is someone who hasn't really taken a lot of visits in their recruitment. He has been kind of slow on it. He's taken visits to Notre Dame. It was at one point, it was just Notre Dame and FSU. Very recently, he took a visit to Clemson. I got to watch him play at the state championship game against Miami Norland this past year, and he is very good. Even though he's a safety, on the offensive side of the ball, he was electric. I think he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns in that game. Then 4-star DB Greg Thomas. I just saw on Twitter he won the Golden Glove boxing tournament in Florida. If that doesn't show you how tough he is at DB. Again, I did put in a pick for him already. FSU is strong here. He's actually a member of the Seminole tribe. He visited in January, and he also visited for the Duke game, which, if you remember, was the Seminole Heritage Night, and that really stood out to him being a member of the tribe. And also, Pat Surtain was his former coach when he was a freshman in high school, and now he could be coached by Pat Surtain again, especially as a DB directly. Another one who I've had some conversations about, people around him, 4-star linebacker Riley Pettyjohn out of McKinney, Texas. He really good. I believe he's the second best or best linebacker in the country, one of the best. This is someone who's kind of interesting. I'm kind of interested to see how much he really talks about FSU this time around. He visited a while ago, and this is his first time back, but FSU does stand out to him. But I just think it's going to be hard to pull him out of Texas, especially to the Longhorns. But clearly they stand out if he keeps coming back. I talked to people around him. They like Norvell. He does have some connections in the program from his family. His dad actually played at Syracuse back in the day, and I think played in the NFL as well. Another one, Myron Charles, defensive lineman, 4-star. FSU's been high on him for a while. He also visited recently. Jalen Wiggins, another guy visiting, UF commit. So this one, I'm not sure how I feel about Jalen Wiggins. He's from down the road, Rickards High School in Tallahassee. I get the sense when I talked to him last when he visited for a junior day that he doesn't really want to stay close to home, meaning like stay in Tallahassee. That's just kind of the feeling I got. But I also didn't really get the feeling that he was truly committed to UF. He listed off like 5-6 schools that he still wanted to visit. So I think even though he's committed to UF, I still think this recruitment is wide open. Whew, a lot of guys. I'm just going to give you a few more. Jarrett Smith, 4-star edge. We got a 4-star quarterback from the 2026 class, Will Griffin, and 4-star wide receiver, Jabari Brady. 3-star running back, Sean Simon. 3-star interior lineman, Caden Strayhorn, which is interesting because I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter about UF with him. And he visited recently. He seemed to like it. Jarquez Carter, this is the last one I'll go in depth about. This is someone that he wasn't very highly ranked, defensive lineman, 3-star, but the staff seems to love him. Everyone around seems to love him. Like, he just seems like that guy who's very lowly ranked, but has so much potential and probably could shoot up the rankings at some point. He's very close with Odell. This is someone definitely to watch who I think FSU really covets him despite the ranking, and I think a lot of schools feel that way as well. Again, a lot of talent this weekend. I went through a lot of names and didn't go in depth in all of them because there's just too many to go in depth with for a preview. But we'll try to get up with all of them on Saturday. There'll be practice. They'll be at practice. And then I'm not exactly sure what activities go on after that and what they're doing for the visit after that. But practice is early on. We'll see kind of who stays after and if we get interviews right after practice. But yeah, thank you guys for watching.